I'm sorry for the delays. I want to thank the consortium for inviting me. I'm a Swedish journalist, and I have been invited here to provide. They have given me an opportunity to say some words about one of the countries which actually actively not participated in the project. So. Sweden is one of the countries that was not participating of some reason. I don't know why, and so I'm here. I have invited also onto the stage one representative of the 150 millions of 55 plus EU citizens, Dirk Jarré. Please come to me here onto the stage. Okay, so I can tell you, so I come from a city which is called Linköping. Linköping is about 200 kilometers south from Stockholm, which is the location where most of you, the city most of you associate Sweden with. Yeah, that's the capital. And Linköping has roughly 100,000 citizens. And the big region, 150,000. And I have been asked now to write a series of articles for two Swedish newspapers. One is the local newspaper called Östgöta Correspondenten, or Korren for short, and it has 40,000 newspapers a day delivered to the region. And then there is another newspaper called Ny Teknik, or New Technology, which is delivered all over Sweden, and that has 150,000 weekly delivery. So, and my first question to you, Dirk Jarré, what role should I, as a journalist, play in this, in the context of this, what has happened today? What do you think?
Well, I guess one of the most important things is that your readers understand how this society is changing and what older people are in that society.
So particularly, what can I write to the local audience in Linköping and in perspective to the technology readers all over Sweden?
Well, they should take older persons as normal citizens, aged normal citizens, and they should understand that they need support, and that one of the supports for these readers of technology magazines, that we have advances in science and technology, which can be extremely helpful, which has helped us in the past for mobility and things like that, but which help us also to appropriate aging processes of the population.
Okay, that sounds very, very interesting. My second question is, I was very impressed also by the initial keynote. That was a very, very nice delivery. And also impressed about the results of the project. How do you think that we should transport, and what should we do with these results in the project?
Well, you call yourself the media. You are in between the results and what should happen. So you need to disseminate in an understandable way what has been achieved by that SIforAGE project, so that people can grasp what it is all about, and that those who take decisions know what kind of decisions are expected from them in order to be helpful to support this society which is changing and to support older people too. That would be a nice thing to do.
Thank you, Dirk. I think I will take your cap and let you have the scene. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here after a long session this morning and still trying to listen to me for something like 20 minutes. As you have seen me right now, I came on the stage to underline a little bit the perception of many of the media and of others that people like me, I have attained the age of 75 right now, and I have a mother of the age of 104 still happily living, that people of that kind are perceived as old, frail, and forgetful. That might be the case. Frailty is something which we need to take into consideration. Forgetfulness, we need to address that challenge. But I would like to tell you one thing which I heard many years ago from a wise person who reflected about aging and who said, age is a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. It's a nice saying. It's true, and it is perhaps not so true. But I personally, my friends, I believe in life after retirement. It is not only that we want to live longer, it is also that we would like to improve, still even in age, the quality of our aging, the quality of our years, and to age in well-being, even in this region, which is the oldest region of the world. Now, what are we going to do with the results which you have heard about during the morning after that brilliant presentation of yours, which I really enjoyed? What are we going to do with these results? It was a scientific project with these 18 partners over 4 years, with a lot of investment of time, of energy, of commitment, of cooperation, etc. Now, where do we go from here, from that point in time? I was asked to present to you one of these visions which we have and which are laid down in this document, which is called Making Choices for a Society for all ages. It is called a white paper. In fact, it is blue, but that is not so important. And it resumes in some way the outcome of the whole project in about 80 pages, in a very structured way, and concludes by giving to decision makers, and decision makers are not only politicians. Decision makers are in science and research. Decision makers are in local administrations. Decision makers are the jurists which work on legislation at national level. Decision makers are also to be found in civil society organizations. And we would like to support their understanding of the aging society and what is expected from them, which decisions they should take in order to make that aging society and aging in the society a very enjoyable situation. We suggest in that document 138 different recommendations, proposals to act, so that the outcome of that project not just are stored away in drawers, etc., but they can be helpful for the everyday life of a politician at local level, at national level, of somebody in the administration to care about the services which older persons and the society at large need, etc., and what kind of social innovation we can offer to them to better do their job in order to perform what is their responsibility. This blue book or white book is Making Choices for a Society for All Ages. I told you just 138 recommendations for decision makers. Why have we produced this paper as a consortium? We have produced it in order that the results of our work, which we have done over these 4 years, will be helpful. Scientific projects tend to end at a certain point in time, and then people forget about it, people go to new projects, etc., etc. We wanted to create a legacy of this project, something which would stay over the next years, over the next decade, and where people can contribute to in an ongoing process of participation and of ping-ponging. We make proposals, and what will be done with these proposals in real life. Which is the target group of that paper? I said it already at the beginning. It is not only politicians, it is decision makers. It is decision makers at all levels, starting at the local level, in the communities, etc., going to the regional levels, like Catalonia, going to the national level, like Spain, and going finally to the European level in order to coordinate policies and to coordinate strategies also at that level. And what is the kind of recommendations which we make in that booklet? It is very practical recommendations, and which are based first on introductions which make people, the readers of that publication, understand what the situation is in various areas of policy making and of decision making. It is not always good to just say you have to do this, that, and the other, but to explain why. What is the problem? What is the issue to be addressed, etc., and what can be the solutions? It is at the same time food for thought. We are not pretending that we give all the answers to all the questions. Sometimes you get the right answers to the wrong questions. So it is important that you understand the situation, know exactly what the issues are really about, and who will benefit from it. It is not only the older population, it is society at large. It is an approach which considers, as we heard this morning, aging begins before you are born, and it ends when you die. It is a life course approach which we need to take. And we also need to make the younger ones understand that this society will be the society they are going to age in over decades, etc., etc. In order to better make things understand, we started by providing a couple of important definitions and what is around these definitions and the description of situations. What do we understand by aging as a process? What is this all about? Is it just a biological, a medical problem, or is it also a social problem? Is it an economic problem which is attached to that? What are the different dimensions of aging as a process? We then went on and share with the readers what does it mean aging in European society, which is not easy. We are not used to aging, as we have seen. Since 1880 until now, the life expectancy has changed for a male person living in Europe from 1880. The life expectancy was about 46 years. Today it is something around 80 years. That has been such a quick development that society has not been able to accommodate the structures, the processes, and all that to that surprising and challenging and extraordinary achievement which we have in demographic developments. But we also talk about things like active aging. What do you mean? What do we mean by active aging? Is it just things like labor market, working, or is active aging something very different? Is it participation in the processes and in the shaping of that society, in resolving problems which the society has to address, in shaping also the future of that society? Healthy aging, well, we have heard a lot about that, and healthy aging is partially a personal responsibility by sports, by eating, etc., but it is also depending on the arrangements which society offers to age in a healthy way and the understanding of what it is all about. Then the most important, perhaps, thing is let people participate in their society at any age. In all the areas which we can imagine, people are the focus of society, they are the actors of society, and they don't lose that capacity when they age. Quite to the contrary, they acquire experiences, they acquire wisdom, they acquire sort of balanced thinking, which can be extremely helpful for society at large. And then we try to give a taste of what we mean by social innovation. Social innovation which addresses old problems in new ways, which can be perhaps not copied, but which can be used in something which I would call innovative and adaptive imitation of good practices to other circumstances. Overall, we have addressed a range of 10 different sectors with 23 different subsectors. We started by the most important thing in your life, and that is your dignity. Human dignity as something which you can't lose and which people may attack and processes may attack and institutions may attack, but which are connected to fundamental rights, and in particular a right we have never talked about, and that is the right to age, and the right to age in dignity. A total arrangement of recommendations to safeguard that and to make it not only text but practice in life for everybody. And then went to the phenomenon of aging in the life course perspective, with not the reduced possibilities of older persons, but with their ongoing capacities. How can we support them? How can we use the ongoing capacities which people have, and how can we benefit from their contributions to society, to their families, to their communities, etc. One of the most important things which hinder and which are barriers for our society are the images about aging, as we know. Old, frail, and forgetful, I started with that. But these images, which we have heard about also this morning, are really the prejudices, are barriers which need to be overcome, which need to be neutralized, etc. Ageism. By what? By information, my friend from Sweden, for the newspapers, but also in schools, and all these things need to be addressed, and we need to find ways and means to make sure that our children grow in a total understanding of what aging means and where they will end up one day themselves, and how respectful one has to deal with that process and with the people involved in that process. Well-being, we all are looking for the well-being of our life, to give life a sense, and one of the most important aspects of this is individual independence and individual self-determination, individual choices. We should not be dependent on the decisions of others, but this needs to be properly supported, that people can choose by choice and voice. For society, it is very important to have a clear understanding of the aging processes and issues. That is very clear, because if you divide society in age classes and in other classes, race classes, sexual classes, etc., you can't make sure that this society has a profound cohesion feature and integrates everybody. The barriers we have addressed a list of over 100 barriers which we have identified, which make aging very difficult for people, which need to be resolved. And these barriers lie partially in the structures of our society, it lies in the organization of our society, and also in the technical arrangements which allow to stay mobile or not, and things like that, to communicate easily or not, etc. Research and development offer to that society in a never-seen way before in history opportunities and possibilities to create a future which is extremely promising and where you can be extremely optimistic about things which help people, which make them happier, which give them more choices, etc. We have seen some of the examples in earlier parts. That older persons have particular needs which need to be addressed is clear, because when the physical and the mental capacities may decline in some way, we need particular social, medical, psychological, but also educational, communication, and other services which need to be provided by the communities in order to honor the aging of their older members. Economics, the last contribution was about that. I would not like to expand too much on that. What the state has as a responsibility is to create the appropriate, the enabling environment so that the right economic approaches can be developed, that quality is safeguarded, that access to all sorts of services and goods is easy, and to give also the entrepreneurial entrepreneurs the chance to initiate and to benefit from the markets which we have. The most important thing is decision-making. Just to say, while aging, that will happen one day, we still have time to address things, is not good enough. We need to act right now. Action can't be postponed, and it should start immediately, and as I said, in all different sectors of society, at all levels, and by all those who have the responsibility and the possibility to take decisions for the better future of that society. Well, this, what you find outside, is a provisional working document. It will be republished as a white paper in at least 7 different languages. The main languages, like we have it in English, it will be in French, Italian, Spanish, it will be in Polish, it will be in Latvian, in German, yes, my own country. Yeah, I forgot these things. Good. But before I end, I would like to make two or three additional remarks. We have also addressed the European level, and we ask for to the European Commission to take up their responsibilities in order to coordinate efforts to make the right decisions in Europe, in all the member states, even if these decisions are made at local, at regional and national level. They need to be fed by understanding, by good examples, etc. And what we wish to see is a central European documentation center where good practices, we are so innovative all over these different cultures in our member states, where these are documented and freely accessible for those who need inspiration and who need good practice to look at, so that they can implement that at their level, that they can be inspired by that. Such a documentation center should be one of the outcomes of the important political and structural outcomes of that project, and be of free access with appropriate analyzing what are the benefits of the different approaches, etc., etc. A last thing is what are we going to do? We can carry that away, we can carry it home. But we need to talk to people, all of us here. We need to go to decision makers and say, have you thought about that? Have you already made yourself acquainted to the issues? Are you enough informed? Do you know good practice? Are you in communication with the older population? Do you involve them in decision-making processes, in the monitoring of what you do for the future of that society, which will go on aging, and where the promise to those born today is to live long and happy, and to those who are not yet born to live even longer and more happy, if we take the right decisions. And the right decisions must be good decisions. They must be informed decisions. And they must be wise decisions of the whole population. Decision makers are only the agents of the will of the society. And as the society looks in the future, will reflect and mirror the quality and the value of our European society. We hope that this is a small contribution to that. Thank you very much.